So I think it's important to recognize that there are so many exciting creative possibilities when it comes to using AI to make music. But in order to really realize the full breadth of those possibilities, it's helpful to think a little bit differently than how a computer scientist might think about machine learning. I think it's useful to consider how people can communicate ideas through data that they use to train their own models. People can use data and machine learning to build new types of embodied interactions. We can use machine learning to make creative practice more accessible to people, but also the process of building our own machine learning systems rather than using big off-the-shelf monolithic models can be really creatively rewarding, and it can change how we think about our practice, and it can change how we think about ourselves. I think there's a misconception right now that AI in music is really just you type some text into a box and generate a pop song. And I find that on one hand it's exciting, and yes, it's also a bit scary and problematic when it comes to the jobs and money available for musicians, as well as the breadth and diversity of music that we create. But I think that's such a narrow view of music AI. And for me, all the really exciting stuff looks very different, right? It involves people training their own models on their own data sets. It looks like communities of people building and sharing models that do maybe very specific things. It looks like people stretching the boundaries of what machine learning was made to do and making really weird forms of music and instruments and art, and not just making music that mimics the music we've had for the last century or more. So it's exciting that suddenly everybody is talking about creative AI and asking questions about how AI is going to change the creative landscape and creative jobs in music, in art. But I think there's these big questions about where is this taking our musical practices, our musical cultures? How is this going to change how we create and how people get remunerated for their creative practice? And I think there's also questions about, how we listen, how we share music, how we think of ourselves as musical participants, how we think of our own agency, how we teach and learn music. There's big questions here that, looking at it one way, there's a lot to be afraid of. I think legitimately that, if we just have a few big tech-inspired approaches to making music coming down the pipeline and we're all stuck with them, yeah, that's maybe not a great thing. But at the same time, there's an opportunity here for creatives, for musicians, for people who really care about the practice and the culture and the sound of music. There's room to do exciting things as well and to be part of the conversations around ethics and around policy and around what we want the future to look like. So I really like working with creators. I like working with musicians. I like working with artists. I love working with students who are coming to this space of saying, hey, I've got a creative practice. How is technology useful for me, right? And I love exploring with people questions of, hey, what can we make these digital tools or algorithms do that allow you to do something you couldn't do before, right? Or maybe you do something in a way that changes how you think about your practice or changes how you think about yourself. Or maybe you just get to do something easier and faster, which in a creative context often means that you take more time to experiment and you experiment with a larger set of ideas. And so for me, enabling those kinds of enriching creative encounters with technology, with my collaborators and my students, that's for me the best way to spend time.